1, 2. Hi. Hello. And welcome. Hello, Tanmay. How are you doing? So I've just got the... there's a bit of noise in the background there. It's just I've got the heater on. Warming me. Right, just switched itself off there. All right. Tanmay, how are you doing? What's happening? Hello, there's Magnador. How are you doing? All right. Are you hanging round? So I'm doing a lesson on modes of all things. So good to see you on here. But yeah, there's quite a bit we're going to cover. Might actually take a few sessions to do to kind of look at modes. But basically, do say hello in the chat. If you're new on here, please subscribe and like the channel if you're satisfied. But the thumbs up does help the algorithm, and people come on here and like watch all my other stuff, which is good. Great. Great. Just stressed because I have to take a calculus in this semester. Well, I'll tell you what, like, learning about modes will sort of get that mathematical brain warming up. Oh, good. Good to hear you. Good. You've got a new album out. Excellent. On the 18th. Keeping busy. Very good. Well, this is the thing, like, music's really good for supporting functional skills, isn't it, Tanmay? So it's going to do the world of good, this. Right, so modes. Sounding all right, that? Good. I think we probably need a more sensible sound. Something like that will do. What's your favourite mode? What is your favourite mode? That's a really good question. I've started dabbling with the Dorian a little bit, and I don't know if this is because I keep listening to fusion players. Not that I have any intention of turning into fusion. Just obviously, I've been pulling inspirations from other genres to sort of expand on my playing, because I think you get really, really bored, and there's plenty of cool stuff to learn from the fusion genre if you're a rock person like me. So Dorian's been like one that I've been getting into, but I mean, I like all the modes. The natural minor is the one that I play the most. Having said that, yeah, Dorian and natural minor are the ones where I spend most of my life doing. Oh, the other thing before I start is obviously there are coaching slots available in my coaching groups. So anybody here, doesn't matter if you're a guitarist or whatever, as long as you've got some sort of setup you can record on and finish music. So I'm running 2 coaching programs where basically it's a course. You sit with me and I take you through lots of music making exercises, games as I call them, which help you finish your music. And I must admit, in terms of creativity and finishing, it's like nitrous oxide. So it's coaching. It doesn't matter what genre you're doing. It can be electronic, it can be death metal, it can be anything, right? It's ideal for you. You might be a guitarist with tons of ideas and you keep recording stuff and then you never finish anything. Then this is, you're the exact kind of person that's going to really benefit from this, because this is going to give you a blueprint, a methodology, a framework, right? A psychic change to finishing music. And it's coaching. What it isn't is what I'm about to do today, which is teaching. Okay, because we're going to do a lesson. So anybody got any questions or any thoughts they would like me to know about modes before I start? Because I haven't 100%, but that's it. Yeah, good morning. Ragusa. So if you've got any questions, just let me know. But other than that, I'll make some sort of a start. Got a few notes actually. Right. Let me have a look here. I would love to learn modal harmony. Yeah, well, this is all going to be the same thing. Yeah, you're going to get all of that from this. This is going to get you started with really good foundations, yeah. So I watched a really cool video, Rick Beardo, and it was entitled Scales versus Modes. But actually, what it is about is scales. I suppose scales is the top of the category. Okay, so we have a scale like the major scale or the minor scale, right? So you have either a major scale or a minor scale. Let's say the major scale. And then the modes are a subdivision that live inside the scale, okay? So, you've got a major scale, then that's then divided up into Ionian, which is the major scale, Dorian, Phrygian, etc., yeah. So they're just subdivisions of the notes of the scale, yeah. So that's the first thing. Now, the good thing about that, from a guitar point of view, or from any point of view, well, particularly a guitar point of view, is if you learn sort of all the fingerings for a scale, right, then you know all the fingerings and the muscle memory and the playing for like all of your modes, okay? All that muscle memory and all your licks can pretty much translate into any mode, okay? That's the first thing. So scales, the container, modes, the subdivisions. Does that make sense? Okay. And then what you'll hear is people relate. They'll go, oh, well, these are the modes of a major scale. Sometimes you'll get guitarists like myself, I tend to think in the minor. So I'll just say, even though I'm playing, say, a Dorian mode, I'll think of that as the relative minor. Okay. And I remember Thomas saying that on a live, actually, that he thinks that way. Hi, WC. Good morning, Hutch. I've been missing live streams while trying to keep my pattern on track. Good stuff. Glad you're getting your sleep. It's, sleep is very important. All right. So I remember when I first learned modes, right? And I think, luckily for me, I had a great teacher, and I never really thought of the modes as 7, separate scales. Okay. I know there's a lot of like theory books and things like that, and it drives this kind of like almost 7 different scales. So there are 7 different finger patterns to learn, which is like a lot of work, isn't it? So you're going to learn the Dorian scale, like in every key across the entire fretboard. And then you're going to do that again 7 times over, and you get these books that are very, very thick. Well, in fact, what you need to do is you just need to learn one finger pattern, and that is it. So that's the good news, isn't it? Oh yeah, get me some likes, that would be amazing. And some subscribers, if I can have some subscribing, that would be pretty cool. So if it's all the same finger patterns, and it's all the same scale, how do we access the different sounds? Yeah, so it's like it's a difference in sound, isn't it, to me, the modes. And I think the one thing that really, really helped me was the description of each mode, like having some way, or even your own way, to describe the sound and the emotion. What's important in music, actually, is, well, music is all about emotion. And one thing that's great in composition is having contrasting emotions, going from sad maybe to happy to something uplifting. And back to Tanmay, like one thing you can do with modes is you can do modal modulations. You can modulate from one mode to another mode in the same key. Okay, but we'll do a bit more of that on that later. So the first mode that we'll talk about is the major mode. Now, I mean, what we could do, so I'm making this as I go along, is I'm going to put in the chart, and then you can copy and paste it, right? So we'll do it this way. I don't know how that copies and pastes, but if that makes sense, it looks good. Twitch is a bit confusing. But there's the Ionian mode, right? Now, the cool thing about the way we're doing this is we're going to use a numbering system. The reason we use a numbering system is because it's always the same, no matter what key we're in, okay? So if I was to use like the letters, like C major scale, C Ionian, it would be C, D, E, F, right? If we change key, okay, and we do like E major, we're going to have like E, F, G sharp. So all the letters change, which is very, very confusing. And I think, like, you know, traditional sort of classical theory guys will probably go for the note names changing. I mean, pull me up on this if I'm wrong. But generally, sort of the quick shorthand street fighting way to do this is to do a numbering system, because it gets us there, and it's a great way to think. So this is like the numbering system's how I think of like intervals and things like that. The other thing about modes is that I find is over my time of learning modes in harmony, there have been different ways that I've done it. Okay. Hi Simon, good morning. Big shout out for all you, for your dedication to helping people there with the music journey. No, it's good fun. This I'm enjoying what I do. It's brilliant. Just please subscribe, everybody, and thumbs up. So there we have the numbering system. So we have a major scale. Now I'm sure we all know the major scale, but just in case we don't, okay, here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's 8. But 7 is where it ends for all the unique notes. So that's our major scale. And as a description for it, it's bright, happy, and stable. What more could you want? And I suppose by saying the word stable, it's predictable. Okay, you know how the notes are going to lead. We're kind of programmed with the major scale. You know, as probably children at school singing happy songs all the time. That and the pentatonic scale. So of course, like our numbering system, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 refers to the intervals as well. So within this, you know, you've got your root, you've got your major second, and we've got a major third. We've got our fourth, and we've got a fifth. We've got a major sixth. We've got a major seven. And of course, the major second acts as the ninth when we're going into extension. So back to Tanmay, want to know about modal harmony and things like that. So the second's the ninth, one of my favourite notes. The fourth also, I love all of them. The fourth, right, is also the 11th, and the sixth gets you the 13 as well. Okay, so we'll have all those intervals. That is the major scale. Okay, now one thing I would do is when you're learning all of these scales, and I'm going to go through this now, and I'm going to give you this so you can come back to the video and you can see all of these scales, because this is a good time to do it, is I'm just going to play through all of the C major scale on guitar, live. Moving my mic out of the way. So you've got all of the fingering patterns I use. Now, I'm just going to use 3 notes per string. I mean, you should do combinations where there are 2 notes as well. But I'm going to do the 3 notes because it's easier. And what this is this is going to be C major in all of the positions. Okay, so you'll have my fingering as well. So this is what it is. I'll go through it fairly rapidly, okay? So here's the first position. And I'll shout out just the fingerings, okay? If it's a stretchy position like this, I'll say 1, 2, 4 wide, and then I'll just call that 1, 2, 4, right? So this is what we've got. We're starting from the very first fret on the 6th string, and we've got 1, 2, 4 wide, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. That's our first position. Starting from F. The next position on the 3rd fret. Easier one to remember this because the fingering is going to be 1, 2, 4 wide, 1, 2, 4 wide, 1, 2, 4 wide. Come in a fret, and we've got 1, 2, 4. Come up a fret, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. And obviously you want to ascend and descend, okay? Next position, we're on to 5, okay? 3 notes per string. We're on the 5th fret, and we've got 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4 wide, 1, 3, 4 wide. Jump up a fret, and we've got 1, 3, 4 wide again, and then we've got 1, 2, 4. That's our next position. We are on to the 7th fret now, okay, and we're starting from the 7th fret, and we're going to go 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4 wide, 1, 3, 4 wide. And relax. Next position. All right. We're on C, so this is your C major scale, isn't it? Technically, these would all have root positions for the modes, but I don't want to start getting into that and confusing things. We'll come back to that. But anyway, C major, we've got our first finger on the 8th fret. And here we go. We're going to go 1, 2, 4 wide, 1, 2, 4 wide, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, come up a fret, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. So we're not bothered about it exactly being the octave. We just want to cover all 6 strings with a pattern. Okay, so we can visually remember this. Okay. Next thing, we're on to the 10th fret. And we've got 1, 3, 4. And then we're going to have 1, 3, 4 wide. 1, 3, 4 wide. 1, 3, 4 wide. And we're going to jump right up to the 12th fret. And we're going to go 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. Descending, I actually do different fingering pattern for this, so it'll start off, 1, 3, 4. Then I'll get to the 1, 2 bit, and I'll switch back to that. You could even do it sort of just with that fingering if you wanted. Which is, I think, ergonomically a bit better, but a bit stretchier down here, but all doable. My advice is to do both. So never stick to one particular fingering for a scale. You need as much flexibility as possible, so don't ever pigeonhole yourself. That's the Dorian. Yeah, you could class that as the Dorian, but it's all the Dorian. If you say it's the Dorian, the key is the Dorian. Tan me. Rather than thinking of it like a separate scale. All right. Okay, so we're up to the 12th fret, and we're nearly done. I think this is the last one. And so we're on to E, and we're going to play first finger, second, fourth. We're going to the next string, and we're going to go 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. Then we're going to go 1, 3, 4 wide, 1, 3, 4 wide, 1, 3, 4 wide. And that's it, and then we're back to the beginning. And then the whole thing repeats till you run out of frets. So basically, just so we're singing out the same book, that's everything. You can come back to that. And then you can see my fingerings, right? And the way the foundational visualization of what we're doing, okay, is there. So that is our scale, okay? That is our major scale, or if you want to relate it to the minor, covering the entire fretboard. So physically, that's all we need to know for now. Moving back to the modes, though, we can start going through them. So, is everybody following along so far? I'm taking my time with this because and I'll probably, if I ever get round to it, timestamp it. But I just see this as probably quite a good resource for everybody. All right, there's Jason. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, and Mixolydian are your favourites. Brilliant. Okay, any questions so far? Good. Any questions? There's another thumbs up, that's good. All right. Why 3, 4? It's just wide's just, I'm just referring to the stretch. So I couldn't think of so for example, like if we're C major position, I'm going 1, 2, 4 wide, 1, 2, 4, but then this fingering's 1, 2, 4, and that's not wide. That's like a smaller fret span. See? So that's wide, wide. That's just the way that I'm doing it. So, Oh, and then once I see. Not one, right? Because sometimes you're going to use 1, 2, 4, and sometimes you're going to use 1, 2, 3, and it just depends on what the constellations of notes are. So this is a very good question, actually, Ryan. So, for example, if I just take this position, the reason I'm using 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4 is because I have to use 1, 2, 4 here. I can't use 1, 3, 4. Wouldn't be good. 2, 3, 4 wouldn't be a very good idea either. Because then what's this doing? So 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4 has to be 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. If I did 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, the muscle memory isn't the same. I'm using 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. I'm having to do that switch. So wherever I can keep the fingerings the same and unified, I will do that. So I have to switch to 1, 3, 4 here. And the reason I do this in the first place is because in the heat of battle, you can't be thinking of these things when you're improvising, so it's a muscle memory thing, is why I do that. So, for example, if I had like this, 1, 3, 4, then I'm likely to go 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4 here, and then flip to 1, 2. But then when I descend, I kind of keep the fingerings 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1. I hope that clears it up. The logical thinking I have here. Okay, it works. I can, it works for me. No, actually, honestly, these are like it's these little things, isn't it? Like fingerings and stuff. You can sit like wondering about, and then searching on the internet and looking at guitarists, and then you can just come here and then just basically get the information. Very clear muscle memory, yeah, that's what it's to do. Because we've got to think at the end of the day, we need to, like, one of the things I was talking about this the other day, actually, like, one of the things we've got to do is, like, chunk things. So instead of thinking of lots of little components, we want to think of just one thing that represents lots of other things. So that's, like, the way that I do it. But it works fine, when I'm doing my legato and stuff like that, it's like, good. And I can get into fairly weird finger positions as well with that as well. Right, I need to pour a coffee. Sorry about this. And then we'll progress. We'll progress. So I just need to go through what the modes are, and then I think what we'll do in next sessions is we'll start doing modal experiments, won't we? Okay. So the next thing, I suppose, that's going to help here is also having the chords for all of these. Okay. I'm just going to go straight in and just harmonize everything. Maybe it's like in major and minor sevens because it's a bit more interesting, isn't it? So basically, chord-wise, we've got C major, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G7, A7, B flat 5 7, and that leads us neatly back to D major 7. So there are all of the chords of the scale as well. Okay. So moving on, and we'll go into the modes now. We can have. So the next mode that we've got is the Dorian mode, and I'm going to give you the formula for it. And then you got this to copy and paste. All right. Okay. So the way that I'm doing this, right, is I'm going to superimpose like the modes on. In fact, no. What we're going to do, we're just going to have a look at it within the key in these finger patterns, all right? That's the first way to do it. So basically the next mode that we're going to have is D Dorian. And the intervals that we get, if we compare it to the major scale, is this, right? So we get a root. In fact, if we do it here on C, we've got the root, we've got the second, major second, and we've got the third. And then we've got the fourth, the fifth, the major sixth, and we've got the flattened seventh. And this mode we can find within the scale in the fingering patterns that we've got here. So D Dorian lives inside the scale of C major or C Ionian. So the D Dorian, I mean, the way you could describe this, really, I'll just get my looper on. Maybe this would help. Hold on, that's not helpful. Here. Back. That. Okay, so let's hear what D Dorian sounds like. Okay, so we'll go through the notes. Now, basically, the first, second, and third, and the third, the minor third, that's given us the minor sound. So that's very common in all the minor scales. But the bit that's unique about this is that major sixth. So the major sixth is the only really defining note that's making the Dorian, so that's the unique note. So if I played that without the major sixth, you wouldn't know if it's Dorian or not. But there's our Dorian note. Oops. Good for BB King. Okay. So we have D Dorian. Everybody following that? So the first, the second, minor third, fourth, fifth, major sixth, and the seventh. All right. Phrygian. that is going to be the next one. Right, any questions, just, put them in the chat. So this is the Phrygian. Again, it's a minor scale, and we've got basically the formula, which is the first, the flattened second, the flattened third, the fourth, the fifth, the flattened sixth, and the flattened seventh. Okay, so that's if we were to superimpose all of these on like C. So if we just map this over the major scale, so you can see the difference. Major scales like this, and then this the Phrygian scale, because this is another good way to hear the difference, is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. Oops. As opposed to. So a big difference in sound when you put them side by side. Now this Phrygian mode, we're using all the same fingering patterns, diatonically, means within the key, lives, okay, on the third degree of the major scale. So we're here. I'll just put the chord in. So, picking a minor 7 chord for us. Ambient sound. All right. So here we go. Now, because we've got a chord in the background that's E minor, and I'm playing basically C major across the entire fretboard, that whole scale, no matter what position I'm in, is going to be Phrygian, because that scale tonality is dictated by that chord. Oops, wrong note. And that's our Phrygian sound. So the Phrygian sound, the actual description, so, just to get you there, a rough description really helps, or a contrasting emotion or something like that. We've got that here. So after the formula, we've got the sound. It sounds exotic, Spanish, a Middle Eastern feel. And the description, it's just an A minor scale with a flattened second, flattened sixth, and then it gives you, I think I'll put the notes in. So that's what we've got there, okay? And again, it's all contained in C major. I need longer fingers for these modes. You make it look so easy. Simon, just like persevere and get a little bit of stretch in there. I know it might feel a bit uncomfortable at first, but I think the really interesting thing is I've started doing like really weird fingers and stretchy things for a while now, but all the time. And you just get used to it. It doesn't matter how old you are, you know, that flex will come back. Like now, you know, all my stretchy like pentatonic stuff I do, like I don't even think about it. Quite comfortable. Okay. Are you okay to go ahead? All right. Where's my mouse? I need to get to my... Oh, there it is. And I think another thing is, like, you know, when we're talking about these modes, I could have added this in actually. So the Dorian mode, right, is heavily used by players like Greg Howe. Okay? Not that he uses like loads of different modes, but the one that you'll associate mostly with him would be the Dorian. And Tom Quayle's very much Dorian, so it's like featured as a fusion thing. And the Phrygian, you know, you'll hear like Aldi Meola and Yngwie Malmsteen will use it, and you know, so that would be the Phrygian. But we're on to the Lydian now. The Lydian mode. So the Lydian mode, we've got the formula of 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's been a few Rick Beato videos mentioning the Lydian mode. Lydian mode, you know, apparently overused by film composers. They really like the sound of this because it sounds heavenly, celestial. You know, so any sort of sounds like that, it's going to give you it. So dreamy, ethereal, and bright. So if we superimpose it over our C major scale, firstly, so we've got our C major here. So if we do a like-for-like comparison, there's only one note difference, and that's the sharp 4. So we've got 1, 2, 3, no changes there, sharp 4. It's quite dark sounding there because it's almost implying like augmented, but it's not because we're going to change to the 5th. Major 6, major 7. Major scale. Lydian. So I really like the sound of the Lydian. Players that use the Lydian to note would be Steve Vai and Joe Satriani. Okay, so you'll hear bits and bobs of that happening. Okay, so we're going to move this to where it sits diatonically in the major scale. So we're going to be on the note F. So this will be the root position. This is where it starts, and it's going to be over an F major 7 chord. So let's have a listen. On the right channel. Right, here we go. Oh, there's that Lydian note. doesn't matter where I go on the fretboard, it's all going to be Lydian. You know, so if you recognise this, if you identify this as the Dorian, it's not the Dorian, it's the Lydian now. So we've learned one set of finger patterns. Doesn't matter where I go. It's all Lydian. It is very dreamy, isn't it, and ethereal, and it does exactly what it says on the tin of paint for this. That's good. Actually, I'm gonna have to have some of my coffee now. We're on mode 4. We can have a coffee break, actually. So I'm expecting questions. We've got to have some questions here. Let's reinforce everybody's learning. So I don't want to have to go back and do this ever again. This is me in I wouldn't care. This is me in proper teaching mode, you know, which we've got to do a bit of it. But the real value in music education, I've got to reinforce this, as it's in coaching. You can have all of these skills, but everybody needs a coach to facilitate these skills. So you have the knowledge, you'll learn these skills, you'll know the modes, you'll play about with them, you'll make little loops. But how do you finish music, and how do you make that connection? Oh, there's Perplexity. Great. I knew you'd be here, Perplexity. This is a great lesson. I've been here all the while, quiet in the background. That's fine. But honestly, like anybody, right, you have to ask. I asked ridiculous questions. Like, really, that, you know, it took me, mind you, I was very young. I was like, I don't know, 10 or something, when I was learning modes, right? And I was like, I just remember, like, lots and lots and lots of questions, like, silly questions. And it took weeks of lessons to kind of get it down, to get the concept in. Oh, right, an acronym. Is there an acronym? Yes. I don't play loud music after lunch. Oh, you know what? That's reminded me. Is unfortunately my one of my guitar teachers, the Richard Manley Reeve, who was an absolute like game changer, life changer, unfortunately passed away in July, which was really sad. I hadn't seen him for a while, but I ended up having a meal with him probably a month before his passing, and it was great to catch up with him. So I'm glad I did that, and I got a chance to actually tell him how much I appreciated his teaching and how much it changed my life. And he was amazed about like all the things I was doing, which was great. But that was his acronym. I don't play loud music after lunch. So that's reminded me of him. So that's for Richard Manley Reeve, who sadly is not with us anymore. Right. Cheers for being on here, such as that. Yeah, well, let's just get like slay the biggest dragon in the morning, and that's modes for us, right? And then we can think about it, and then I think, like, you know, because I'm going to be on the stream Thursday and Friday, so I'm hoping you know, because sometimes like when you get showered with a lot of information like this, it's like not all the time you have like loads of questions. You go away and then the problems start to happen, and then that's when the questions are going to come in. So I am expecting more questions on the Thursday and Friday. So that's where the after sales is, you know, that's you can going to come back, check in with support, i.e. me, and then we can just go through the questions that anybody's got, you know, any problems that they've got, because we'll all have had the same problems, or we'll be experiencing very similar things. One mode shape is the same all over the neck, right? Yes. So D Dorian is the same shape as E Dorian, just in a different spot on the no. Right. So D Dorian, okay, we're in D minor. So I'm thinking of it as the major scale. So I'm just thinking like all of D Dorian's contained in the C major scale. Okay. It's the second degree. So therefore, all of the fingerings for the major scale, the C major scale, are D Dorian. Okay. So D Dorian is that. C major is that, even though I'm starting from the F. Okay, it's all dictated to by what our start and end chord is going to be, pretty much, which is D. So, you know, if I was to do that, drums on. Right, I'm not the greatest. Regression. This is all going to be Dorian. Here's the Dorian note. Just to make it more obvious, I'm just going to loop round one section. Right. This is all D Dorian. Okay, I'll get my loop right. There we go. Okay, so no matter where I'm moving about, because the progression's a Dorian progression, all of that scale, all of those fingering patterns are D Dorian. Okay. Right. Okay, we've done Lydian, Mixolydian. All right, let's see if I can get all of these done today. Right. So, Mixolydian sounds bluesy, rock orientated, and dominant. Okay, what's the dominant sound? So this is mode 5, the Mixolydian. It's on the 5th degree of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So its chord is the G dominant 7th. Okay. So that's the chord that we're working with. So the formula for this is we've got notes, if we look at it just in the root position here, we've got 1, 2, 3, that's the same as a major scale. And we've got 4, 5, and 6, exactly the same as a major scale. Flat 7. So there's only one note difference. So this is the Mixolydian, and this is the major scale. Only one note difference. Back to finding the mode diatonically in the key of C. We're up here. That's our G7 chord. And I'll just play how it sounds. So it's good, like, I mean, when you hear the Mixolydian in combination with things, it's when you get that major minor blues thing, that's when I like it. So, you know, you might have like a G chord like that, and you can play like a minor blues over it. That'll all work. What we can do is we can start entering in notes from the Mixolydian. Like little things like that, where you're going from a minor interval, which you're getting from the minor pentatonic, and then you're putting a major third in, which I'm pulling from the Mixolydian, and then we've also got the flat 7 from the Mixolydian. So apart from that, you know, you've got things where, you know, you get those classic kind of country things. So Mixolydian's a country thing as well. Yeah, so we've got that sort of thing going on, like sixes. That's all the sort of Mixolydian country sound. For me, I love kind of adding it into a bit of shred. I mean, just going off at a tangent, there's like a little riff I play, and I think I picked this up from sort of analysing, I think it was Screaming Blues or Mania back in the day, Paul Gilbert, because what he did is he did this piece of music that combined like Dorian, Mixolydian, chromaticism, and, you know, blues scale all together, you know, and you had like crazy runs that were like, which kind of put like, you know, combine everything. You know, this is all like your Mixolydian sound. So I think that's a pretty good example. So we can fit that over, you know, like when you would use that as if, you know, you've got that G7 chord, it would have to be a major chord from the Mixolydian, and then you can start adding your minor pentatonic over the top in the Mixolydian. I think that's a separate session. Okay. All right. Okay. There you go. There's Jeffrey greeting some guy. Greeting Jeffrey back. There we go. Sorry, you can talk in class. Briefly. Don't want any disruptions. All right. Everybody following that? And that was the Mixolydian. I felt like I was getting off on a tangent there. I could be, my monkey brain might be kicking in here. Oh, it's hard being a teacher, isn't it? Who wants to do this job? Tell you what, coaching, much better. All right. Hats off to teachers, though. Okay, Aeolian mode. This is probably what I use loads. But then actually removing the Aeolian bit out of it. Anyway, the Aeolian mode is a natural minor scale. You know, think Steve Vai, Yngwie Malmsteen, I'll See the Light Tonight, although that goes into a harmonic minor thing. Like loads of Yngwie stuff will be like Aeolian and Phrygian. Aeolian, Phrygian, Dorian, you know, when he's getting a bit bluesy, it'll be in there. These are all the things that he'll have. You know, you listen to old Racer X. It's all natural minor. A bit of Dorian here and there. Maybe there's a bit of Phrygian now and then. But you know, you start developing an ear for these. The school of McCutch. Yeah. It's a free school, mine. No, but seriously, because I have to keep like mentioning it about the coaching, right? There are coaching spaces free if anybody wants to get on there, but that's the real value. That's where you're going to get these skills, and you're going to use them to great effect to, you know, make music, to express your emotions, to finish things, and to make a connection to the world with your music. So yes, we've got the Aeolian mode. So let's compare it to the major scale of which it is contained. So this is what we would call the relative minor. It's like the opposite of a major scale. That's how I think of it anyway. So we have our major scale. So direct, you know, comparison. If I play C, Aeolian, the formula is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7. That's what everybody calls the avoid note, isn't it? Major. Minor. Yeah. So those are that's a direct comparison. But when we're in the key, when we're using the scale of C major, the Aeolian mode is found on the 6th degree. That's where the root position is. So, but for us, it's all of the C scale. Okay, we just need A minor in the root, dictating us what it is. Okay, so get this one. Turn my volume down, but you get the idea. Oops, hands are cold. Basic improvisation. I was dying to go into pentatonic and like other stuff, but just the raw Aeolian scale, that's what it sounds like over A minor. Okay, what are super? I don't know, I'll look it up. Sounds like something I might be using. What is it? I don't know. Somebody look up what a super mode is and put it in the chat. I'll find out tomorrow though. I'll find out now. What is All right, let's have a look. Right, yes. So it's what I was doing actually before when we're doing the Mixolydian. So a supermode music isn't a standard term like a major or minor modes, but it can refer to a few different concepts depending on the context, right? So extended or hybrid modes. Some musicians use supermodes to describe a mode that combines elements from multiple modes, such as mixing the Lydian and Dorian scales to create something unique. So it's a fusion. So you could just make your own thing, couldn't you? Advanced or altered modes in jazz. Modern compositions music sometimes refer to complex modal variations like altered dominant scales as supermodes. Right, so when we're going into like altered modes and things like that, that is basically melodic minor modes. So the framework of what you're learning here, you can apply to melodic minor, and that will give you another 7 modes, right? And one of those modes will be the altered dominant scale. Higher dimensional modes. In some theoretical frameworks, a supermode might mean a mode that extends beyond the traditional 7-note scale, such as synthetic microtonal scales. So there you go. That's what a supermode is. So it's something we can make up. I mean, like some people, I suppose, in a way, like when you're thinking of like an extended scale, and that, I'm not sure if this is a great idea, but I've seen people go, mix the flat 5 in with the Dorian, and then that's been a pattern. But it's incredibly confusing to then start learning that as a separate thing. So the best way to think of it is like your pentatonic scale, blues scale. Blues scale has the flat 5, and that's where that becomes part of that muscle memory. And then we've got, in addition to that, the mode. Yeah. So from D, we've got our D pentatonic, we've got our D Dorian, we've got our flat 5. Yeah, so that's kind of how we're thinking about it. So yes, that is the Aeolian mode. That's on, and that's mode 6. And then we've got the very rarely used, but somebody should make a career out of it, as nobody's using it. The Locrian. There you go. So the Locrian mode. Now the formula for this is 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. So 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. There's loads of flattening of everything, right? So we compare that like for like with the major scale. Here's the major scale. Okay, this one. So that's the difference. Actually, it sounds pretty good. I think you get it in gypsy jazz quite a bit. Basically the chord that we play, when I played you through all the chords of the major scale, this chord is a flat 5, flat 7. Diminished, or in this case we've got the 7th like half diminished, but it would fit over a diminished chord, basically. Let's give this a whirl. Dark and mysterious. Okay, and remember, we're just playing C major scale. I was enjoying that. That was pretty cool. I was getting Rick Johnson vibes there for a bit. Is it Rick? No. Not Rick Johnson. Who's the guy called? Oh, it'll come to me. It does the finger picking. Anyway, Nick Johnson. Nick Johnson, that's it. So, the sound of this is tense, dissonant, unstable. Oh, I don't know about that. I like to be stable. No. Unstable. A description would be diminished scale, rarely used for melodies, but common in modern music. You could make melodies out of it. You know. And that finishes the modes, okay? I did post the Locrian. Right, so you've got all of them there. And here's the summary of characteristics. Let's see how this comes up into the chart. And then I can put the modes to bed for now. Right, and there's all your formulas and characteristics and stuff like that. Okay. The formatting of it's not too good. But actually, if you just email me, I'll just send you my notes. So the email is it's not in the description. It's right. This is my email. I'll make sure it's in the I'll make sure it's in the description as well if it's not. So if you just email me, I can just send you the notes for today's session, because I actually did some preparation for it in a way. It wasn't 100% planned. Hi Hippie, good every day. Just got home, missed most of the video. I guess I will have to go back and watch. Yeah, I would go. Like today, Hippie has all been educational. So all killer, no filler. It's all been heads down, working very hard, going through every single mode, giving examples, talking about how the sound, and then the formulas. So it's all there. There's also all the scale positions I use, and also all of the chords contained within the major scale. So everything is there that you need to make a start on sort of learning modes, if you don't already know them. If you do already know them, it's another perspective on it, which helps. I've learned modes in lots of different ways. And there's lots of different, like, formulas that go in my head when I'm improvising, which we can get into as we sort of progress with the lives, So, right, what do you want to talk about? We've got a little bit of time left, and I'm really interested in hearing what people thought about today's session. What's gone well for you? What positives have people got out of hearing me talk about modes today? That would be a good thing to know. Because I'm in teacher mode now. So what sort of insights, has anybody had any aha moments from today? If you haven't, it's fine. But you will have them tomorrow, the next day. There's the information. Filters. Anybody on here who's popped in and hasn't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and like. Just waiting to see if anybody's got anything. Now, you don't have to talk about modes, but if you want to talk about something else, that is also fine. Even products are allowed. other than that, I'm just going to sit and chill with my coffee. Anyway, today is going to be a very, very busy day for me. I've got a lot of, I mean, it's all playing. I mean, how I don't actually get injured playing, I really don't know. But I've got a good 2 hours just in this morning, and I've got another 2 in the afternoon. Which I'm looking forward to. So then the other thing to think about is, now, I mean, like, this has felt like the first proper kind of structured lesson. Right, Jeffrey Boyle has had natural minor scale aha moment. Brilliant. I wonder what that is, though. Can you tell me more, Jeffrey, about your natural minor aha moment? It's like I use the natural minor, but it's like in the chord progression. And then what I do is I use the natural minor scale, but I kind of use it as a passing note. If I'm going to use it, is the minor sixth. Because for some reason, the minor sixth just doesn't like make a very nice noise unless you give it some sort of some context. But we can do a bit more on that at some point. Just learning piano and I play guitar, very good. So yeah, just a shameless plug again. Anybody interested in coaching sessions, get in contact with me. tim@timhutch.uk. I do have a couple of groups and always on the lookout for new members. Also, in fact, if you're very, very quick, there's a new intake coming up now. So there's time to like get onto one of the groups for February. So I can get you started this Sunday. That would be amazing. Other than that, there's one-to-one coaching, and there's also if you require guitar lessons and music production. But I kind of keep those quiet because I want the coaching more. But if you want one-to-one coaching, guitar lessons, music, tech stuff, there is very limited spots for that. Okay, everybody's quiet. I'm quite enjoying the quietness. Thank you, Jeffrey. Yeah, the modes tonight are very clear. Anybody else? I hope it that did clear up things for other people, or if it just kind of reinforced your knowledge, that's also really good. All right, cool. Brian Wanderer, hypothetically here, and remember my self one is usually a tyrant, but I'm about to do a solo on a on a B Dorian section. My thinking is often, oh shit, here it comes, aside from that being its own topic. So I suppose, like, you know, obviously you think of the scales that become muscle memory, and then it's just a feel. So this is where you'll hear, like Thomas say, I just think of the minor scale, right? It's because what's actually happening, he's learned the modes and he's chunking. So it comes down to whatever the common denominator is. So that tends to be how I'll think. So if you ask me what key were you in, and it would have been D Dorian, I'm thinking A minor. And then I'm just thinking A minor across the entire fretboard. And then because I've shown you my finger positions, you know, this is all in muscle memory. So you just go for it. I'm not thinking, oh, I'm playing in D Dorian. D Dorian is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a learning tool. I'm not thinking about anything. You know, you're in flow. When you leave self 1 and you enter to self 2, you're not thinking anything. You're purely in flow. You're completely embodied in the experience. And it's the automatic brain that's taking over. It's a wonderful place to be. And this is why music's very, very therapeutic, because there's no self 1. You're in self 2. So therefore there's no past or negative past, like, you know, when you did the D Dorian scale last week, you made a right mess of it, right? There's no past, and there's no future predicting, oh, you're going to screw this up because you haven't done this. Outcomes. There's only being present absolutely in that moment. And that's what I find fascinating about this whole thing, because it's a break from self 1. And at that moment, at least for me, I'm experiencing who I am, completely free of everything. So it's a very woo answer. But in order to get there, there's this learning process of numbers and fingerings and exercises. And we're just priming our brain, our thinking brain. So all this information you're transferring from, you know, the prefrontal cortex, and you're moving it into the older brain. This is my understanding of it. Like if you're an extreme sports athlete, you know, and you're jumping out of an aeroplane for Red Bull, you're not going to be thinking things like, oh, when I left the office this morning, did I turn the laminator off? You know, or did I switch the oven off before I... You're not going to be thinking about things like that when you're in the middle. You have to be in flow. You have to be completely, because it would mean certain death. And it's the same thing with music. You know, we need to be in self too. Great question. In this case, oh shit, remember B Dorian as A major, solo in A major, go. Yeah. But, you know, you could just think of it as Dorian if you wanted. It's okay to think in either, just whatever gets you there quick. There is no right, no wrong. So, if I'm in D Dorian, right, what did you say? B Dorian is A major, yeah. So you could think of it like that. Or in my case, I would think F sharp minor. So that would be the right conceptualization. So you can either relate them to your container of a major scale, or if you do it the Thomas and Tim way, we tend to relate things to a minor scale. But what I've done is I've taught everybody the more traditional common route, which is to relate everything to a major. So yeah, so that would be... It would be A major you were thinking. So the right conceptualization, absolutely. And they would be all of those 3 notes per string fingerings. Excellent. So it is now time for my greatly... what was I going to say? my reward, which actually this is a reward talking to you guys, but for doing the live, I get to go for my park walk now. So I'm going to have a walk around, go visit the ducks and the swans and stuff, and have a chat to a tree. And yeah, and it's been great. So I'll see everybody. I'll be on tomorrow morning. It'll be a Q&A because I'm expecting, questions like what Brian is talking about there tomorrow, and I'll have more time to really unpack things. So thanks everybody for coming along, and it's been wonderful. So I'll see you all tomorrow morning, same time. Bye.